The call came on a Tuesday evening while I was folding laundry in the living room. My youngest son, Marcus, a commercial pilot for Delta, rarely called during his work hours unless something was urgent. When his name flashed on my phone screen, my heart skipped. "Mom, quick question." His voice was low, almost a whisper. "Is Vanessa at the house right now?" I glanced toward the kitchen, where I could hear my daughter-in-law humming softly while preparing dinner. "Yes, honey. She's making pot roast." "Why?" There was a pause, then Marcus spoke carefully, as if choosing each word. "That's impossible, Mom. Vanessa just boarded my flight from Miami to Atlanta. I saw her myself. Row 12A. She even made eye contact with me." The laundry basket slipped from my hands. "Marcus, what are you talking about? Your wife is literally in my kitchen right now." "I know what I saw, Mom. It was her. Same hair, same face, even wearing that silver bracelet I gave her for her birthday." His voice dropped even lower. "Something's not right. I need to go, we're about to take off." "But Mom, be careful." The line went dead. I stood there, phone still pressed to my ear, trying to make sense of what I'd just heard. In the kitchen, the humming continued. That same tune Vanessa always sang. Cielito Lindo. My late husband Robert used to sing it to our boys when they were little. When Vanessa joined our family 5 years ago, I'd taught it to her, and she'd fallen in love with the melody. "Margaret?" The voice came from behind me. "Are you okay? You look pale." I turned to see Vanessa standing in the doorway, wiping her hands on a dish towel. Her face showed genuine concern. She looked exactly like she always did, brown hair pulled into a messy bun, hazel eyes. That small scar above her left eyebrow from a childhood accident, everything was familiar. Everything was normal. Except my son just saw her boarding a plane in Miami. "I'm fine, dear," I managed. "Just felt a little dizzy for a moment." She came closer, placing a cool hand on my forehead. "You're not getting sick, are you? Let me get you some water." As she turned away, I noticed something. A small detail I'd never paid attention to before. The way she held the dish towel. In her left hand. Vanessa was right-handed. I'd watched her write shopping lists, chop vegetables, brush her daughter Lily's hair, always with her right hand. My mind was racing now. I followed her into the kitchen, watching every movement. She poured water from the pitcher, left hand. She stirred the pot on the stove, left hand. She picked up a wooden spoon, left hand. "Vanessa, honey," I kept my voice steady. "Where's Lily?" "Taking a nap upstairs. She was exhausted from daycare." She smiled at me, but something about it felt off. Too bright, too perfect. "And Daniel?" I asked about my other grandson. "When's his soccer practice again?" Her smile faltered for just a second. "Thursday, I think? Or was it Wednesday?" She laughed lightly. "You know how bad I am with schedules." But Vanessa wasn't bad with schedules. She kept a color-coded calendar on the fridge. Daniel's soccer was always on Tuesday and Friday. Today was Tuesday. She should know he had practice in an hour. I excused myself and went upstairs to check on Lily. My 5-year-old granddaughter was indeed napping, curled up with her stuffed elephant. I sat on the edge of her bed, my mind spinning with impossible thoughts. Twins. Could Vanessa have a twin sister we didn't know about? I'd known Vanessa since she started dating my son Thomas 6 years ago. She'd told us she was raised by a single foster mother in Virginia after being abandoned as a baby. No siblings, no biological family. Just her foster mother, Patricia, who'd passed away 2 years before the wedding. But what if there was more to the story? What if there had been a twin sister separated at birth? My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "Landing in 20 minutes. We need to talk. Don't let anyone know I called." I went back downstairs, trying to act normal. The woman who looked like Vanessa was setting the table. I watched her closely. She moved through the house like someone who knew the layout, but there were tiny hesitations. A pause before opening the silverware drawer, a glance around before reaching for the napkins. "Vanessa, remember that recipe I wanted to try?" I said suddenly. "The one you saved on your phone?" "Oh, which one?" She pulled out her phone, but I noticed her fingers hovering over the screen uncertainly. "You know, the peach cobbler. You bookmarked it last month." "Right, yes." "Let me look." She scrolled through her phone, but her movements were too slow, too searching. The real Vanessa would have known exactly where it was. Thomas came home from work an hour later. He kissed his wife on the cheek, didn't notice anything unusual. How could he not sense something was different? But then again, if this woman looked identical, spoke the same way, knew enough about their life. During dinner, I studied them. The woman sitting across from me knew things. She knew that Thomas liked his steak medium rare. She knew that Lily wouldn't eat green beans. She knew where the salt shaker was kept, but there were gaps. Small holes in her knowledge that only someone paying very close attention would notice. When she tucked Lily into bed that night, she sang Cielito Lindo. But she got a verse wrong. A verse the real Vanessa would never mess up because I'd taught it to her myself, carefully explaining each word. After everyone went to sleep, I crept downstairs and called Marcus from the back porch. "Tell me exactly what you saw," I whispered. He took a deep breath. "I was doing my pre-flight check when passengers started boarding. I always glance up to greet people, you know. And there she was, Vanessa. I'd stake my life on it, Mom. Same everything." She looked right at me, and for a second I thought she was going to say something, but then she looked away quickly and went to her seat. I asked the flight attendant for the passenger list. Row 12A was booked under the name Victoria Bennett. Victoria. Not Vanessa, but close enough. When we landed in Atlanta, I tried to catch her, but she was gone, disappeared into the crowd. "Marcus, I think the woman at Thomas's house might not be Vanessa." Silence. Then, "What are you saying, Mom?" I think Vanessa might have a twin sister, an identical twin, and I think they've been switching places." It sounded insane saying it out loud, but it was the only explanation that made sense. Over the next 3 days, I became a detective in my own son's house. I made excuses to visit daily. I watched. I took notes. I noticed that this Vanessa wore her wedding ring on her right hand instead of her left. I noticed she didn't know that Thomas took 1 sugar in his coffee, not 2. I noticed she called their dog Bailey instead of Bay. But Thomas noticed nothing. He came home tired from his job at the engineering firm, played with the kids, ate dinner, watched TV, went to bed. To him, everything was normal. On Thursday, I came over early. The woman I'd been watching was getting ready to go out. "Where are you headed?" I asked casually. "Just some errands. Grocery store, dry cleaners." She grabbed keys from the counter, but they were the wrong keys. The real Vanessa always used the key with the butterfly keychain. These keys had a plain blue tag. "Take your time, dear. I'll watch Lily." After she left, I did something I'm not proud of. I searched the master bedroom. In the back of the closet, behind a row of shoes, I found a small duffel bag. Inside were clothes, toiletries, and a wallet. I opened the wallet with shaking hands. The driver's license said Victoria Bennett, born the same day as Vanessa, same year, same month, same day, but different state. Vanessa's license said she was born in Virginia. Victoria's said Georgia. Twins. Separated at birth. And now one was impersonating the other. But why? And where was the real Vanessa? I took photos of everything with my phone and carefully put it all back. My hands were trembling so badly I could barely hold the camera steady. That evening, I called a family meeting. All my sons, Marcus, Thomas, and David. I told them to come to my house. Thomas resisted at first. "Mom, it's Thursday. Vanessa has her book club." "Bring her," I said firmly. "This is important." When they all gathered in my living room, I closed the curtains and locked the door. Thomas looked annoyed. David looked confused. Marcus looked worried because he knew something was coming. The woman I'd been watching sat on my couch, crossing her legs casually. "Margaret, what's this all about?" I stood in front of them all and pulled out my phone. 3 days ago, Marcus called me. He told me he saw Vanessa board his flight in Miami, but Vanessa was at home. At first I thought he was mistaken. I looked directly at the woman on my couch. But he wasn't wrong, was he? Because you're not Vanessa, you're Victoria. The room went silent. Thomas jumped to his feet. "Mom, what are you talking about? This is my wife." But the woman on the couch had gone very still. Her face was a mask, but her eyes were calculating, measuring, deciding. "I found your bag," I continued. "In the closet, I found your ID. Victoria Bennett. Born the same day as Vanessa. You're her twin sister. Thomas, your mother's lost her mind, Victoria said, but her voice had changed. It was harder now, colder. I don't think so, Marcus stepped forward. Because I know what I saw, and Mom's right. Things have been off. Off? Thomas looked between us, bewildered. What are you talking about? Nothing's been off. Yes, it has, Dad. We all turned. David's teenage son, Cameron, had been sitting quietly in the corner. Now he stood up. Grandma's right, that's not Mom. I've known for days. Cameron, don't be ridiculous, Victoria started. You don't know that I have a geometry test every Friday, Cameron interrupted. Real Mom would never forget that. You didn't know where Dad keeps his tool set. You made chicken parmesan last week, but you used the wrong recipe. Mom's is better, and she never forgets the extra oregano. And you don't know the combination to the garage keypad. I watched you have to ask Dad to open it. Out of the mouths of babes. Or in this case, observant teenagers. Thomas was staring at his wife now, really looking at her for the first time in days. Is this true? Are you not Vanessa? Victoria stood up slowly. For a moment, I thought she might continue to deny it. But then her whole demeanor changed. The soft, gentle mannerisms fell away. She stood straighter. Her expression hardened. Fine, she said. You want the truth? Yes. I'm Victoria, Vanessa's twin sister. Thomas stumbled backward like he'd been struck. Where is she? Where's my wife? Victoria laughed, but it was a bitter sound. Relax. She's fine. She's living the life she always wanted. With Robert. Robert? Who's Robert? Her lover. The man she's been seeing for the past 8 months. Victoria crossed her arms. Did you really think your perfect little wife was so perfect? She met him at a conference in Miami. A wealthy real estate developer. He offered her everything you couldn't. Excitement, adventure, money, freedom from suburban mom life. I felt sick. This couldn't be true. Vanessa loved Thomas, loved her children. You're lying, Thomas whispered. Am I? Why don't you check her credit card statements? The hotel rooms in Miami, the flights, all those work trips and girls' weekends. She was building a new life. But she couldn't just leave. The divorce would be messy, the custody battle, the judgment. Victoria shrugged. So she called me. Her long-lost twin sister found me through one of those DNA websites, and she had a proposition. My blood ran cold. You agreed to take her place. Why not? I had nothing. No family, no home. Vanessa offered me money. A chance to know what it was like to have the life that should have been mine too. Her voice cracked slightly. We were both abandoned, both thrown away, but she got adopted by a nice foster mother. I got bounced around group homes until I aged out of the system. So, yes, when she offered me $20,000 to pretend to be her for a few weeks while she finalized things with Robert, I said yes. A few weeks? Marcus asked quietly. How long has this been going on? Victoria met his gaze. 3 months. 3 months. Vanessa had been gone for 3 months, and none of us had known. None of us had noticed. My son had been living with an imposter, sleeping next to a stranger, and he hadn't known. Thomas's face had gone white. The kids, Lily and Daniel, they've been with you. A complete stranger. I was good to them, Victoria said defensively. I never hurt them. I fed them. I took care of them. She faltered. I actually liked being their mom. But you're not their mother, Thomas's voice broke. Where is Vanessa? I need to talk to her, now. Victoria pulled out her phone and dialed. We all waited in horrible silence. Finally, someone answered. Ness, it's over. They figured it out. A pause. Yes, all of them. Your mother-in-law found my ID. Another pause. I don't know, but you need to come back. She hung up. She's in Miami. She'll be on the first flight tomorrow morning. That night was the longest of my life. Thomas took the kids to my house. Victoria stayed in a hotel. We didn't trust her alone, but we didn't know what else to do with her. Call the police? What crime had actually been committed? Identity fraud? Child endangerment? My son David, who was a lawyer, advised us to wait. Let Vanessa come back, get her side, then we figure out what to do legally. I held my grandchildren close that night. Little Lily asked why Daddy was crying. Daniel asked if Mommy was coming home. I didn't know what to tell them. How do you explain to children that their mother had chosen to leave them, that she'd been gone for months, and they hadn't even known? Vanessa arrived the next afternoon. Marcus picked her up from the airport. I'd insisted on coming along. I needed to see her. Needed to understand how she could have done this. She looked different. Her hair was lighter, longer. She wore expensive clothes I'd never seen before. Diamond earrings, a designer handbag. When she saw me in the terminal, she couldn't meet my eyes. The ride back was silent. What was there to say? At my house, Thomas was waiting. When Vanessa walked in, he just stared at her, his wife, the woman he'd loved for 6 years, the mother of his children, a stranger. How could you? His voice was barely a whisper. Vanessa sat down heavily. I never meant for it to go this far. I felt trapped. The same routine every day. Diapers and dishes and soccer practice. I was drowning. And then I met Robert, and for the first time in years, I felt alive. So you left. You left our children. You hired your twin sister to replace you. I was going to come back. I just needed time to think, to figure out what I wanted. She was crying now. And then weeks became months, and I didn't know how to come back, how to explain. You found your twin sister on a DNA website and paid her to live your life, I said, my voice hard. You abandoned your family. I didn't abandon them. Victoria took care of them. I made sure they'd be okay. Victoria is a stranger. She didn't know them. She didn't love them. She did a better job than I was doing, Vanessa shot back. The kids were happy. Thomas was happy. No one even noticed I was gone. The room fell silent at that, because she was right, and that was the most shameful part of all. None of us had noticed. Thomas spoke finally, his voice hollow. I want a divorce. Vanessa flinched. Thomas, please. No. We're done. You gave up our family. You chose to leave. Fine. But you don't get to come back now and pretend nothing happened. He stood up. My lawyer will be in touch. I want full custody. Over the next weeks, the truth came out in painful pieces. Vanessa and Robert had been planning to get married. She'd been slowly transferring money from joint accounts to a private account. She'd been preparing to disappear permanently. But she'd gotten cold feet, started to regret, started to miss her children, if not her husband. Victoria, meanwhile, had grown attached to the life she'd been living. She admitted she'd started to feel like she really was part of the family, that she'd enjoyed being a mother, being a wife, having a home. I know it was wrong, she told me one evening. We were sitting on my porch, watching the sunset. The divorce proceedings were underway. Victoria had agreed to testify if needed. But for 3 months, I got to experience what my life could have been. If I'd been the one adopted, if I'd been the one who got the chances. You lied to my son. You deceived my grandchildren. I know, she wiped her eyes, but I also loved them. In my own way. I made them breakfast. I helped with homework. I tucked them in at night. Things no one ever did for me. I looked at this woman, this mirror image of my daughter-in-law, this stranger who'd lived in my son's house, and I felt an unexpected pang of sympathy. She was a victim too in her own way, abandoned as a child, used by her sister, desperate for family. What will you do now? I asked. I don't know. Go back to Georgia, I guess. Try to start over. She looked at me. Would you tell them I'm sorry? Lily and Daniel? Tell them I didn't mean to hurt them? They'll remember you as their mother, I said quietly. They won't understand that you weren't really her. Maybe that's better. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Vanessa moved back to Miami with Robert. She got supervised visitation with the children twice a month. They were confused, hurt, angry. Lily asked why Mommy looked different, why she smelled different, why she didn't sing the same songs. Thomas eventually had to tell them a simplified version of the truth, that Mommy had gone away for a while, that sometimes grown-ups make mistakes, that families can be complicated. A year passed. Then, too, the wounds slowly healed, though the scars remained. Thomas started dating someone new, a kindergarten teacher named Rachel, who was patient and kind with the children. They took things slow. And then one day, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Victoria standing there, looking nervous. "I know I have no right to be here," she said quickly. "But I wanted you to know. I've been working with a therapist, trying to deal with everything, and I wanted to apologize, properly, for what I did." I stepped aside. "Come in." We sat in my living room, drinking tea. She told me about her life. She'd gone back to school, was studying social work, hoping to help other foster kids. She'd reconnected with some of her biological family through the DNA website, found cousins, an aunt. "I think about them sometimes," she said softly. "Lily and Daniel. I know they're not mine, but for those 3 months, they felt like mine." "They ask about you," I admitted. "Not often, but sometimes, Lily especially. She remembers someone singing to her, someone who smelled like vanilla and made her favorite pancakes." Victoria's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry. For all of it. I shouldn't have agreed to Vanessa's plan. I should have said no. You were desperate. You wanted family. That's not an excuse." "No," I agreed. "But it's an explanation." We sat in silence for a moment. Then I made a decision, one I'd been thinking about for months. "Victoria, would you like to meet them? Properly this time? As yourself?" She looked up sharply. "What?" "I've talked to Thomas. He's not thrilled with the idea. But he agrees that you're Lily and Daniel's biological aunt. Vanessa's twin sister. Your family, technically. And I think it might help everyone heal. To acknowledge what happened. To be honest about it. I don't know if I could face them. I think you need to. And I think they need it too. They need to understand that you're not their mother. That you're someone else. Someone who made mistakes but who also cared for them. It took time. Months of therapy, for all of us. But eventually Victoria became part of our lives. Not as Vanessa, as herself. Aunt Vicky, the kids called her. She came to birthday parties, sent Christmas cards, called on holidays. It was strange, awkward, painful sometimes, but it was also healing. Because the truth, no matter how difficult, is always better than lies. Vanessa remarried in Miami. She sees the kids according to the custody arrangement, but the relationship is strained. They're polite with her, respectful, but distant. They remember that she left. They understand in their way what she did. Thomas married Rachel 2 years later. She's a wonderful stepmother, patient and loving. The kids adore her. And me? I learned that family is complicated, that people are capable of both terrible and beautiful things, that love isn't always enough, that sometimes the people we think we know best are strangers. But I also learned that truth matters, that honesty, no matter how painful, is essential, that a foundation built on lies will always crumble eventually. That Tuesday phone call from Marcus changed everything, shattered our family's illusions, forced us to confront painful realities, but it also saved us. Because we could have gone on indefinitely, not knowing, living with an imposter, building our lives on sand. Now, when I watch my grandchildren play, when I see Thomas smile at Rachel, when I get the occasional text from Victoria updating me on her life, I'm grateful. Grateful for the truth. Grateful for second chances. Grateful that even broken families can find a way to heal. The wind chimes on my porch ring softly in the breeze. Inside, I can hear laughter. Lily and Daniel are visiting, helping me bake cookies. Real moments, real family, built on truth this time. And that's worth everything.